Hi, my name is Deepthi. Today, we are going to learn about how to visually inspect the raw material for rusting, scaling, or corrosion.
At the end of this demonstration, you will be able to visual inspection of raw material for rusting, scaling and corrosion. In fitting, a visual inspection of raw material is an important step in the process of preparing and working with metal components. This inspection involves a careful examination of the raw material, such as metal bars, sheets, or plates, to ensure that it meets the required specifications and quality standards. During the inspection, the fitter will check for any defects, such as cracks, voids, or other imperfections that may compromise the integrity of the material or affect the quality of the finished product. They will also verify the dimensions and composition of the material to ensure that it is suitable for the intended application. A visual inspection of raw material is typically carried out using various tools such as magnifying lenses, gauges, and other measuring instruments to ensure that the material is free from any defects that may impact its performance or suitability for the intended application. Proper inspection and selection of raw material can help ensure the quality and reliability of the finished product. The most common visual inspections to be made on raw materials are to check the raw material for rust, corrosion, scales. Rusting. Rusting is a common issue with raw metal materials that are exposed to moisture or air. Rust is the result of a chemical reaction between iron, oxygen, and water, which causes the metal to corrode and weaken over time. In fitting, rust can be a serious problem as it can weaken the material and compromise the integrity of the finished product. Rust can also make it more difficult to work with the material as it can affect the surface finish and cause the material to be more brittle and prone to breaking. To prevent rusting in raw material, it is important to store and handle the material properly. This can involve keeping the material in a dry, climate-controlled environment and protecting it from exposure to moisture or humidity. It is also important to apply a protective coating or finish to the material, such as oil or paint, to create a barrier between the metal and the environment. If rust is already present on raw material, it can be removed using various methods such as sanding, wire brushing, or chemical treatments. Proper prevention and removal of rust can help ensure the quality and longevity of metal components used in fitting. Corrosion. Corrosion is a chemical reaction that occurs when a metal is exposed to an environment that causes it to degrade and weaken over time. It is a common problem in raw metal materials used in fitting, as they may be exposed to corrosive agents such as acids, salt water, or chemicals. Corrosion can cause the raw material to weaken, corrode, and breakdown, leading to potential safety hazards and compromised performance of the finished product. To prevent corrosion in raw materials, it is important to store and handle them properly. This can involve keeping the material in a dry, climate-controlled environment and protecting it from exposure to corrosive agents. There are several methods to prevent or minimize corrosion in raw materials, including applying protective coatings or finishes such as paint, powder coating, or galvanizing. These coatings create a barrier between the metal and the environment, preventing corrosive agents from coming into contact with the material. If corrosion has already occurred, the material may need to be treated with various methods, such as sanding, wire brushing, or chemical treatments to remove the corrosion and restore the material to its original state. Proper prevention and removal of corrosion can help ensure the quality and longevity of metal components used in fitting. Scales. Scales are a type of surface layer that can form on raw metal materials such as steel, iron, or aluminum during the manufacturing process. Scales form due to exposure to high temperatures or oxidation and can appear as a thin, flaky layer on the surface of the metal. In fitting, scales on raw material can affect the quality and performance of the finished product, as they can impact the surface finish and integrity of the metal. Scales can also make it more difficult to work with the material, as they can cause surface irregularities or impede the effectiveness of cutting or shaping tools. To remove scales on raw material, various methods can be used, such as mechanical cleaning, abrasive blasting, or chemical treatments. Mechanical cleaning involves using tools such as wire brushes or sandpaper to physically remove the scales from the surface of the metal. Abrasive blasting involves using compressed air or water to blast a high-speed abrasive material against the surface of the metal to remove the scales. Chemical treatments involve applying a chemical solution to the metal that dissolves the scales. Proper removal of scales can help ensure the quality and reliability of the finished product by providing a smooth, even surface for working with the metal.
Let's have a recap of what we have learned today. We have learned to visual inspection of raw materials for rusting, scaling, and corrosion. Thus, we have learned the importance of trade training, list of tools and machinery. Hope you have a clear understanding on this. Do this exercise with the help of your instructor.
Thank you.